Good afternoon, I'm Giovanni Dennis with the Midday News. A special welcome if you're joining us online at onespotmedia.com. The body of a missing 20-year-old female was found in bushes off the Dike Road in Portmore St this morning. The body has been identified as that of Khanice Jackson, an accounting clerk who went out on Wednesday. However, when she did not return home, a missing person report was filed with the police. Police are now investigating the circumstances surrounding her murder. And we'll have more details of that story in subsequent newscasts. Jamaicans are being warned to expect rising prices for goods imported from China and other Asian countries. President of the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, Richard Pandoe, says the current blockage of Egypt's Suez Canal by a large vessel could exacerbate an already challenging shipping container shortage. Mr. Pandoe says the shortage has caused shipping costs to skyrocket and delays in deliveries.
So already from last year, the middle of last year, there's been a global shortage of container, right? Because of the imbalance between the container movements between Europe and Asia, primarily from China to North America and Europe. So with the COVID restriction, more or less for every 10 containers to ship to North America, only 4 were returning to China. So this caused a huge imbalance, created a shortage, and so companies desperate to get their goods started to pay premium rates, and this resulted in shipping costs skyrocketing. I mean, shipping costs has gone up from Asia, primarily China, as I said before, by as much as 300%.
Mr. Pandoe says it will get worse with consumer demand expected to rise in the U.S. amid the distribution of stimulus checks by the government. He says the situation is not expected to ease before June.
So all in all, the scenario, it's a perfect storm. It's not a pretty picture, and certainly up to the middle of this year, probably June, July, before the experts, the supply chain experts, are predicting that there will be relief in the current situation. So Jamaicans can continue to brace to rising prices. Again, this is on everything that is shipped from China and Asia to this side of the world.
The government will officially launch the e-commerce National Delivery System ends today. The platform will facilitate the delivery of goods to include food during the curfew hours. Political commentator Sanjay Roden says the platform is a step in the right direction, but he's cautiously optimistic.
We tend to see a lot in our country, Jamaica, is that we create a lot of systems, yet at some point, when it starts good, there becomes a breakdown in our system. That's where my caution lies. Now, as it relates to my excitement, I'm excited for the jerk pan man. And I'm excited for those vendors who will now have the opportunity to continue their livelihoods in a meaningful way.
He says there are still some questions to be answered.
It relates to the mobile devices, how it will work, the implementation. Does the person need to have one service? You know, there are a lot of little cogs that come in place that I can see it as being an expensive initiative to implement. And I just hope that at this specific point in time, it will be implemented in a quick time. It will be a way for a lot of Jamaicans to keep earning and to keep their livelihoods alive. And I think people will buy into it.
This will be piloted in Portmore St for later rollout across the island. 11 more Jamaicans have died from COVID-19. This brings the death toll to 557. 4 of the persons who died are from St. Catherine, 3 are from Kingston and St. Andrew, 2 from Westmoreland, and 1 from Hanover and St. Anne. Meanwhile, the country has recorded 330 new cases. The number of confirmed cases now stands at 37,458. St. Catherine recorded most of the new cases with 103, followed by Kingston and St. Andrew with 99. Meanwhile, 443 persons remain in hospital. 46 are critically ill. There are 19,795 active cases. Director of the Pan American Health Organization, PANAHO, Dr. Carissa Etienne, says despite the gradual rollout of vaccines, millions of people remain at risk for contracting COVID-19. Speaking at a recent media briefing, Dr. Etienne says the number of cases in the Caribbean is alarming. The majority of cases have been reported by Jamaica, Cuba, Aruba, Curacao, and Antigua and Barbuda. Dr. Etienne warns the virus is not receding, nor is the pandemic starting to go away.
The COVID-19 virus is not receding, nor is the pandemic starting to go away. Vaccines are coming, but they are still several months away for most people in our region. Until they arrive, and until most of the population is vaccinated, we must continue to do what works.
Farmers in TRINITYVILLE, St. Thomas are this afternoon making an appeal to Agriculture Minister Floyd Green for assistance in acquiring unoccupied land in the area. The farmers say they want to use the land for cultivation so they could provide for their families. Sandy Williams reports.
It's all about survival we're asking for. That's all that we need.
Nara Ross is one of several farmers in TRINITYVILLE, St. Thomas, who is seeking help to acquire a piece of land in the area. The land is believed to be a property of the Sugar Company of Jamaica, SCJ Holdings. However, the farmers say the land, which is about more than 600 acres, has been there for some time without any signs of development.
2 years, this land put on here not using. We're not for we young boy here. We have nothing doing. We have no regime of. Say we have education for go look job somewhere else. We have no reliance past the farming, and we need somewhere to farm that we can feed our kids them. Because it's very rough on us between to care ourselves, pay bills and things. It's really hard on us, and we ask for this little piece of land here.
So we are trying to go do it the right way. And so we are calling upon the Minister of Agriculture, Mr. Floyd Green, to come and see if he can render to us some assistance. Because the land is here and the people are willing to work. The people are willing to cultivate the land. Because agriculture is what the people depend on in TRINITYVILLE.
Currently, they farm on a hill. However, the lack of water continues to pose a challenge.
We try self-reliance water. The time is so hard, the drought is so rough on us. So we cannot make it. Because the things them grow and burn down back. So we don't have water to water the things them to come. Like we don't want to plant like Irish, onion, melon, those things, scallion, those things. We don't have nowhere to work.
So this is a good opportunity to have access to these land where water is and can be plowed.
If we cannot find pump to catch the water, at least we and our family can go on head near the river to grow our crops.
So Mr. Minister of Agriculture, we beseech you to come and to help us here in TRINITYVILLE community so we can improve our standard of living through agriculture for a better community and a better parish and to the wider a better island.
And the young people them we need something to do. Cause I'm just 39 years old and trust me, sometimes I feel like to give up but go where I don't know. So I would like even a little acre that we can plant me onion. If I'm cutting into piece of me onion, piece of me scallion, or what we can do to survive.
We will give thanks for this major move if done.
Sandy Williams, TVJ News.
And it's now time for a break here on the Midday News, but please stay with us. We'll have much more when we return. Welcome back. We're continuing the news. Residents in Cumberland, St. Catherine are raising concerns about mongoose and rat infestation in the community. They say they've been dealing with the issue for months following a debushing program. Sasha Lee Hamilton reports.
Mongooses and rats are now plaguing the homes of residents in Cumberland, St. Catherine. The residents say the rodent infestation is due to the piles of debris left behind from a recent debushing program in the community.
Sometimes they have to sit outside in the mornings to watch them, to avoid them from coming into the house. Yes, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. You can't sit with mongoose in your house because they will bite you up.
Rat traps have become regular sights in the homes of residents as they try to get rid of the rodents.
I have
caught 18 rats in my house with the use of the glue traps. From December till now? Yes, plus setting rat poison. I have found dead ones inside the house, under the refrigerator, under the cupboards, under the stove.
So you kill them, and so you see them, you see one pop up back.
The residents say this is the first time they've had to deal with this issue, despite numerous debushing programs in the past.
Mr. Arthur Williams, who was a JLP, whatever, he did it 1 year, brought the prisoners to court, and he removed everything. So we didn't have those problems. But since December, this new MP now did the bushing and left it like that.
Member of Parliament for South East St. Catherine, Robert Miller, responded to the issue. He says he could only speak to why the 3 piles of debris were left in an open lot in the community.
I was advised by the citizens to leave them there because they wanted to do some gardening along that stretch, and they wanted to use it for mulch, and they wanted to use the topsoil that was there. If there's an issue with mongoose and rats, you know, that's a local government issue, and I'll try my endeavor best to speak to the authority where that is concerned.
Mr. Miller says he would have no problem removing the debris since it is causing an issue in the area. Sasha Lee Hamilton, TVJ News.
Residents in SEACREST St. Anne are livid over poor roads in their community. The residents say the situation is making life unbearable and they urgently need the problem fixed. Shamela Pullen reports.
It's been a bumpy ride for residents in SEACREST, Discovery Bay, St. Anne. The residents complain that for years they have been having difficulty using the main road in their area because of the poor state.
So this scheme was developed about 25-30 years ago, and from ever since this road has been like this. I think something went wrong when they do this development because this road is like a riverbed when it rains. So they need to look on how they can fix this road properly.
The impact on lives and livelihood have been great. The people are accusing their representatives of politicizing the issue.
Even when it was coming near to the last election, we had hoped that at least any member of either of the parties would have seen it necessary to come here and even do the usual placating and put it on a little gravel or something. But no one has come before then, and even after then.
We're paying our taxes, and to see where we have to drive to come home, it's beyond belief. It's like back in the primitive time.
This road, it has been in deplorable condition, and we are tired of the politics around it. To people come and then them want to do things here and then them leave you and gone, and we can't deal with it anymore. The road needs to fix. Trust me, it needs to be addressed.
Meanwhile, Councillor for the Dry Harbour Division, Carlton Ricketts, says the road is not a parish council road.
We engaged Mr. Owl from HAJ to come down here and have a look at the road, which we did. And he came and I showed them every road around there, which is so bad. You know, I did.
Where do we go from here?
Well, I would say further dialogue has to continue in order, because these people are living in hell. You know, I live in close proximity and I know the road.
Shamela Pullen, TVJ News.
Come tomorrow, the country will start the first of 3 consecutive weekends of lockdown. While the move is widely supported by Jamaicans, at least one group is already feeling the impact. More in this report.
On Saturday, March 27, 2021, the new curfew hours will begin at noon on the Saturday.
That announcement by Prime Minister Andrew Holness on Sunday was the last thing market vendors across the island were expecting to hear. They rely on weekend sales because that's when the market are the busiest. Some vendors usually operate till the wee hours of the night, but that will change when the curfew starts at noon on Saturday.
Yes, I can't write so I sell. And watch here now, you see the plan with Andrew own is job for the people them
And I tell the people, them say 12 o'clock market got locked down. And them buy our goods, give it for seller. We hustle and put ourselves somewhere in our life. So Andrew owners have to plan something different for the market people. Them.
Too early, man, because as Igla have things to spoil. And if you must give it so long till slap till Monday, half day Saturday and slap till Monday, that not going to work out for you. We are going to have enough spoil goods.
The time is really short. So it's our ask for please and thanks and kindness you could give a little more time. Because by the time we come out and put out, by 12 o'clock we have to pack up and go home back. And now go on already to the cavern and nothing now sell, nothing. So it's rather worse now.
Saturday is one of the best days for us. And by the time we come out, 8 o'clock and put out, by you look around, it's 11 o'clock and we have nothing to go home with. Everything I go stay until Monday and the goods them are going to spoil up.
Market vendors are not the only ones upset about the lockdown. Some Jamaicans believe the lockdown is counterproductive.
So I think it's too early. I think the government should have put it at 3 o'clock at least.
Because everybody will come out one time to go and do anything. So when you give the people more time, you will have some come out in the morning, some come out in the afternoon, some come out in the evening when they know said they have to go home.
The measures were implemented in response to the surge in COVID-19 cases and the record number of hospitalizations across the island. Cody Ann Barrett, TVJ News.
A family in Gale St. Mary is seeking the public's assistance to locate their relative who has been missing from Friday, March 5. He's 59-year-old Alan Mornan. Mr. Mornan was last seen wearing a grey T-shirt, navy blue pants and black shoes. He's 5 feet 6 inches tall and has a small scar under his left eye. It's understood that he drives a 2014 white Probox with license plate number 4257JR. The family is asking anyone with information to contact the Gale Police Station in St. Mary or call Police Emergency 119 or the nearest police station. To news overseas, in the United States, a mass vaccination event is being held in St. Louis to vaccinate 3,000 people a day with the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine. The two-day event, which started on Thursday, continues today. More from the CNN.
A line stretching as far as the eye can see and then even farther. Hundreds of people formed this line that snakes around the community college campus Thursday morning, many of them waiting well past their appointment time.
It wasn't what I expected because, we all had appointment time, so I was a little surprised to see 1,000 people when I got here, but it moved very quickly. It's a really well-oiled machine. Everybody's been terrific. I think I was in and out in just under an hour and a half.
Patients told us the line was long but moving as the governor stopped by for a tour.
They're doing like almost 600 an hour, so if you're doing that kind of rate, there's going to be a lot of people get vaccines in the next couple of days.
1 week after St. Charles's long line debacle, Penny and Jerry Brown came back to try again.
Yeah, they had it set up a lot better this time because we didn't make it last time. We waited a couple hours. We didn't want to do that. So this time in and out in 15, 20 minutes.
Were you at all hesitant to come back out this week given what happened last week, or?
Yes.
Organizers moved most patients inside, increased the number of vaccinators, and made other small changes to increase output.
It's a huge challenge, but since the beginning of the pandemic, we've been building the plane midair, and that's just what we have to keep doing.
St. Charles Health Department is giving out more vaccines in this clinic than they sometimes do in a year. And for some, they say it's worth the wait, no matter how long the line.
Yes, I might get a little teary. Both my parents turned 90 this past year, and I haven't seen either one of them or been able to visit with them, so I'm really excited to go see them.
We go now to news in sports, where despite the heavy defeat with an inexperienced squad, national football head coach Theodore Tapper Whitmore says he has taken some positives from Thursday's match against the United States. Here's Spencer Darlington.
According to head coach Theodore Whitmore, while team chemistry was understandably lacking, he saw enough from the new players to build on going forward.
It's hard to go in any specific assessment of the game. I can say the game provides me with an opportunity to look on new talent, and to a chance again to fit in the missing pieces. Again, my only concern was the local players when we injured them. You could see the difference, with them out of competition, not playing. But I would take a lot of positive out the game.
The coach spoke about what worked well on the day.
I think we were okay up to 60-65 minutes, we created chances. Obviously, I could see that the chemistry wasn't there, the cohesiveness of the team, a lot of turnovers. But again, a team 2 days together, I thought they did well.
The 1998 World Cup hero is now hoping for at least 2 more friendly matches with all players involved.
I would like to have the whole composition of the team for me to select from, that we can select our Gold Cup and pre-World Cup squad. That would be the positive for me.
Spencer Darlington, TVJ Sports.
Primetime Sports Report.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Giovanni Dennis. Join us at 7 for Primetime News. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, have a good afternoon.